Hi there, and welcome to this Hammerting fluid update patch video. So I'm going to go through all of the new things in the patch, but first I'm just gonna give a quick sort of disclaimer. This game is in early access. Anything you see is quite likely to be fixed or improved or changed in various ways. We are always listening to feedback, and if you are keen on giving feedback, you're very welcome to join our Discord, where we listen to it continuously. We have polls and a nice community to talk to. Okay, so let's get into it. So yeah, so this is the fluid patch. So that of course means that we do have fluids. Right now we have water and lava. So most biomes currently just spawn water, and down here in the underworld you can find lava as well. We do intend to add more fluids down the line, but this is a good start, we think, to get a feel for how it works, and so we can sort of know what to add later to improve the game further. So let's name some UI. So to work with the fluids, we have two new buildings. One is the hand pump, and if I put that here, cancel this and this. I have a dwarf who's down here in the water, and the way that the pump works is that I can put some fluids to be crafted, and what that basically means is that it will find whatever's in the fluid, or sort of the drop areas that you see here near the pump, and it will pump those from the cave and into items into the pump's inventory. So let me, oh wait, I have a small demo here, so I'm just gonna, well, I'm just gonna cancel that. We'll get to that later. So you can see here, as the dwarf is pumping, the water is getting removed here from the map, and it's getting pumped into the pump, and then they can carry that into, for example, the tavern and brewery, which now have a lot of nice and cool recipes for crafting. Let me just pause here, and another thing that's new with fluids then, of course, is that they affect the dwarfs and other creatures in various ways. So in this case, the dwarf is now in water, and that reduces her movement speed. In lava, they will take quite a bit of damage, so look out for that. They will try to avoid fluids, but you know, if they have to, they will move through fluids. So you may need to be extra careful when near the lava. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, so there is another building as well called the drain sink, and the purpose of that is simply to do the opposite of the pump, so they can pump fluids back into the cave, and perhaps somewhere where you prefer it to be. Oh yes, and I said that there are new recipes, and that of course means that there are new knowledges to unlock. So for example, I think we have beekeeping here, and brewing, social gatherings. Yeah, so there are a fair amount of new perfecting my winemaking, new knowledges to have fun with as well. So that's basically that about that. A semi-related feature, and it's a bit hidden right now. It's becoming, it'll be more improved in the upcoming patch, but that is that all of the regions that you see on the map, they are now called biome regions. So for example, this is a biome region, this is another biome region, and so on. and they can have different modifiers applied to them. Currently, in the fluid update patch, the only change is that some of them will have more fluids than other, like they can be wet or they can be dry. But in the future, we're going to add more effects on them. So, for example, one might be dark, reducing vision range. Another might be sort of, I don't know, scary, reducing the morale of any dwarfs in there, or it may be invigorating, increasing their movement speed, stuff like that. Just to make all of these different areas feel a little bit more unique and require different approaches. So I'm quite excited about that. The next feature in the patch is what we call sovereignty. So previously, as long as you had money, you could just buy as many dwarfs as you wanted, but that is no longer the case. When you start the game, you will have 5 points of sovereignty, and each point allows you to have 1 dwarf. So that means that at the start of the game you can recruit 2 dwarves, and then you will run out of sovereignty and you need to increase it. So that is like the cap of the amount of dwarfs you can have in the game. So you can see here, it's listed here now. A mountain home's level of sovereignty is a measure of how many dwarves it can rightfully command. So here you can also see how you get sovereignty. So in this case, you get 5 by default, as I said, from the mountain home, and you also get, so in this case I have discovered 6 ancient dwarven statues. So I don't know exactly where I have those right now, but I think yeah, here we have 2 of them. So you can see also here in the bottom right tooltip that they provide 1 sovereignty each. In addition, the primary way you will get more sovereignty at the moment is through unlocked or through knowledges. So for example, formalized learning here provides 2 sovereignty, and that is I don't know exactly which ones provide sovereignty, but you can find that out for yourselves. So that is a way for us to more naturally sort of provide a curve to the expansion of the colony. Also, now that you, if you want to recruit dwarves, it's listed here as well. And if it's if you have if you need more sovereignty to hire, just as we sort of show not enough coins, it will also state here not enough sovereignty, just so it's very clear what's going on. Next up is job priorities. So all of the jobs that a dwarf can do have currently 3 levels of priority, and that's been the case for a long time now, but you haven't really been able to control them yourself, but that is something that you can do now. So for example, if I build let's see, a small quarry here. Oops. Sorry about that. Yes, this is a debug menu that you have access to if you play the experimental build, which we encourage because that's a great way, in fact, to give us feedback on upcoming features before everyone else gets access to it. So let's say I want a small quarry there and a small quarry here. So right now the dwarf starts finishing this one, but maybe I want this one to finish later on. And I'm just gonna count this, then he will run to this one instead to finish that. So you can more easily get control over what the dwarves do first. So that is one way to do it. And another way is to go into the job broker and go to this second page here. And here you can get a total list of all of the jobs in the game. And you can quite easily here go to them to see where they are on the map, and you can also set their priority here. This feature is work in progress, so we are going to improve it as time go, and we for each update it'll improve. but this will help quite a lot, especially with, I think, building stuff that is a bit further away from the base will help quite a lot. You can also, just to be clear, you can see the priority here. If it's different from normal, it'll have this little triangle here, so you can see if it's blue or if it's orange. That means that it's high or low priority. All right. Next up, entity names. So you know that you can probably change the name of dwarves. And what we have done is we have gone through basically the code base and ensured that all of the places where we get an entity's name, we sort of go through the same code path. And that ensures that we, as much as possible, for example, show icon names before a certain before the name of an object. So you can see the item here has the name and the icon. It also means that things like chest that you can rename also has, like, that name is shown everywhere that it should now. So that's nice. We have a new enemy called a Rimeling. Let's see if I can find that. I believe it's we have one. I believe it's spawned somewhere here. Yeah, here it is in the spawned here in the water. So that's probably something that we should fix for the fluids, just so things don't spawn in the fluids. But here is the new Rimeling enemy. Another thing that I think will make a lot of people very happy is that you now, let's see where do we have an entity layer or an enemy layer here, for example. So I'm just going to take you, and I have my debug command on. So normally, or previously, they would attack layers just if they were in the vicinity, but now you have to actually manually place an order. So you don't really risk dwarves going up to layers at random and attacking them before you can sort of coordinate that properly. Oh, here's another dwarven statue. Let's see. Okay, and then, like, in general, we have improved performance quite a lot in the game, both gameplay wise and graphics wise. So even though we've added fluids, which will definitely, like that, it's not a free feature, so to speak, in terms of performance, but I do believe we may have improved performance overall anyway, which is quite nice. And I think the final thing that I want to mention explicitly is enemy waves. So enemy waves has gone through another round of fixes, and I think the most sort of important thing is that they will now spawn, like when layers spawn waves towards the base, they will now spawn first one enemy, then a wave of 2 enemies, then 3 enemies, and so on until they've reached, like, that, the cap for that layer, which will be 5 or 6, depending on the layer. So that will make early game more reasonable. Previously, you could end up in a situation where you had like 2 rat layers spawning on like near you, and they would send huge waves very quickly, and you would be swamped. And now you have sort of a little bit of a time buffer to build up for before that happens. So there are a lot more in the patch, and I haven't shown everything. I can just show you. So these are the patch notes. I will try to link them down below as well, as they say. And what I've talked about so far is basically down here, and there's more stuff as well. But I'm going to leave that as an exercise for the reader. I hope I haven't left out anything super important. And I think I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah. So thank you, and please enjoy the patch. I will be streaming the patch maybe today, or maybe I already have. I'm not sure exactly when this video is coming out, but hopefully you will catch the stream anyway. Yes, thank you, and goodbye.